G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I'm going to be giving you my round 16 AFL tips and we'll be looking back on my round 15 results. So let's start off with round 15 and my tipping results. Very disappointed. I got 8 out of 9, so close to a perfect round, but let's have a look who I tipped and yeah, let's see the results. So I tipped the D's to win this one. I thought it would be a really close game and they'd win by 8, but they, in my opinion, surprised everyone, coming out with a huge win over the Brisbane Lions. I got the tip right. The margin was way off, but I will take that. Next up, we had at Marvel Stadium the Doggies against the Hawks. Cracker of a game for a bit of it, but the Dogs just ran away with it at the end. Good win for them and good tip for me. Next up, I took my Eagles to beat Essendon. And the Eagles, to my surprise, were actually quite clinical in parts of this game. So I do hope we can see them continue going up a little bit. If we can avoid that spoon, I will be oh so happy. Good tip for me again. The next one, the one I got wrong, I backed Fremantle stupidly to beat Carlton, and they couldn't get the job done. They got flogged by 31 points. It was quite close for most of the game, but the Blues ran away with it in the fourth quarter. And shout out to them, man. They're playing some very good football, and they have just proven that they're the premiership threat. Next up, probably the game of the round, we saw the Geelong Cats against the Richmond Tigers. Geelong were extremely good in this game, as were the Tigers. Both sides competed so well. The Cats move up to second on the ladder with this win, and yeah, I'm just surprised that they've jumped up that ladder so high. I did not think at round 15 we'd be saying that the Cats were second on the ladder, but they are. All right, next up, Sydney Swans against the St Kilda Saints, and the Saints. Look, I tipped the Swans and I'm happy I did, but the Saints, I thought this would be the game of the round. It was probably the disappointment of the round. I thought the Sydney Swans would just play in such a close game with the Saints, but Sydney looked like a dominating team all game. The Saints just couldn't keep up, and that's the result. Took the Adelaide Crows to beat North Melbourne. I stupidly said I think this game will be a cracker because I think North Melbourne will compete at home. Disappointing result for them, but good result for the Crows, so shout out to them. Then we saw in the second last game of the round, the Pies beat GWS. Now, Collingwood controlled most of this game, but the Giants did have little comebacks at times. Shout out to Collingwood for getting the win, but it did scare me a little bit. So I just wish Fremantle had come through, otherwise I'd have a perfect round. Port Adelaide against the Suns, it was another cracker. The Suns are the real deal this year. Like, they could be a finals team, and I'd be very surprised if they weren't. So, yeah, good game from both sides. And I think this is probably one of the closest seasons I've ever seen in the AFL. Like, there's only 3 wins between 10th and 1st. Like, it's insane. It's insanely good this year. All right, let's do the round 16 tips. Starting off with Thursday night football, the Brisbane Lions against the Western Bulldogs. This is going to be an absolutely mouth-watering clash. I'm going to take the Lions in this one. I think it'll be a very good game for the most part, but I'm going to say the Lions run away with it late in the game to beat the Bulldogs by 19. All right, then we got Carlton against Saint Kilda. The Saints were absolutely horrendous last week when Carlton were nearly perfect. So I've got to give the Blues the win there. I highly doubt St Kilda will trouble the scores too much here in this game. I think it'll be a very lengthy win for the Blues. All right, Essendon against the Swans. I can't see Essendon beating Sydney. I know it's at the MCG and there could be an upset here, but I just don't see it happening. I think the Swans will be way too good for Essendon and get a really good win there. Next up, we've got the Adelaide Crows against the Melbourne Demons. Another game. Look, I think Adelaide will be quite competitive for most part in this game. Like, I don't see the Demons winning by more than 4 goals in this one. And to a lot of people, that might seem like a pretty big scoreline. But I'd say, if I were the Crows, I'd be happy with that result. So, I'm back in the D's in this one. I think they'll win it fairly easily, but I do see the Crows putting up a little bit of a fight. At GMHBA Stadium, we see the Cats take on the North Melbourne Kangaroos. I'd say this one will be won by at least 70 points. I don't see the Roos coming anywhere near the Cats in this one. All right, then we have at Metricon, could potentially be a game of the round candidate. We've got the Gold Coast Suns taking on the Collingwood Magpies. I'm backing the Suns in this one. I do think at Metricon the Suns are going to be too good for the Magpies, and they're going to continue their fight for a top 8 position. All right, the next game, the first game on Sunday is at the MCG, the Richmond Tigers against the West Coast Eagles. I would love to tip my Eagles in this one, but I just think the Richmond Tigers have been playing some really good football. West Coast had a good game against Essendon. Don't get me wrong, and I'd love to tip my boys here, but I've got to go the Tigers. I don't see them losing this one. I think it will be a pretty ugly game for the Eagles. I'm tipping the Tigers to win this one by at least 40 points. All right, next up we have the Giants against the Hawks. I think this one's going to be quite an entertaining game and could potentially go either way. I do see the Giants coming out with the chocolates at the end of the day, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hawthorn put up a fight. All right, and finally at Optus Stadium, we got Freo against Port Adelaide. Fremantle return home after a disappointing loss to Carlton. Port Adelaide got a scrappy win over the Suns. I don't see Port Adelaide really competing here. Fremantle are going to be pissed off. They're going to want to prove their doubters wrong, and I'm backing Freo to bounce back in a big way. All right, let's go over the tips one more time. I've got the Lions by 19 to beat the Doggies, Carlton to win against Saint Kilda by 40 plus, Swans to beat Essendon, I reckon, by 40 plus as well. D's to beat Adelaide by 24. I've got Geelong to beat North Melbourne by probably 70 points. Suns to beat Collingwood, I'm going to say it's probably going to be an under 39 margin. Richmond Tigers against West Coast, I think we'll probably see a 40-point win there from the Tigers. I think it's going to be a under 39 margin with Giants winning in that one. And then I reckon 30-plus win for the Fremantle Dockers. All right, guys, let's save changes and wrap it up for this week. So I hope you guys enjoy the footy. I won't be able to watch too much on Saturday because I am going to a wedding. But let me know who you guys are tipping down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.